Hello and welcome back to the Sweet and Spice Podcast. My name is Kate.
And I'm Cecily. And today, we're talking about orcs.
Finally, the Orc King!
More orc peen. I actually have a couple of orc peens, which,
Yeah, but we haven't covered one yet on this podcast.
draw your own conclusions about why I have so many orc books. So,
I mean, girly, we've already discussed that you're into the monster erotica, so.
anyway, Her Orc King by Zoe Ashwood. This is a series. Woo, woo. I have read most of the series, except for, the last one, which is where it's a female orc and a human male.
Oh, that's
which
cool. I love when they do that.
I'm kind of curious about that, so I will be reading it. It's been on my TBR. I just didn't realize it had gotten released. But you know how it goes. Your TBR is like this.
Okay, so I guess I have a question, but I don't know if I should ask it after the triggers or not. Because, it's not pertaining to the book, but it pertains to this universe after you just said that.
Hold, please.
Okay.
Triggers. Kidnapping, slavery, sold as a child bride, hard life. She, worked around as a maid. She sold her virginity for clothes. There's battle elements, and, of course, monster peen. All of what she does, all of her hard parts of her life are not done by the orcs, though, let's be clear. The humans treated her like trash. The orcs are the good guys. This is a wonderful universe. It's, guaranteed happy ending. No, there's not, wild drama. It's just a good monster read.
Okay.
With monster peen. So naturally, as I say, for some people, monster peen is a trigger. If you don't want to hear about monster peen, then this episode is not for you. But we still love you.
Come back next week. Wait, no, probably not next week. Possibly the one after, but let's be honest, with Cecily, no.
There's
probably
a good chance,
week
nah.
4. 4 weeks from now. Come back on, episode 8.
4 weeks from now. Oh my god. Okay, anywho.
Oh my god, we cover so many monsters.
Good. Now, your question.
Yes, okay, so my question. So, pertaining to the last book, right? I'm assuming, because it's monster peen, it's gonna be bigger than the average human.
Yeah, I know. I don't know, so I can't answer that till I read the book. But don't you worry, I will, and I will.
You know exactly what question I'm gonna ask.
Yes,
too.
Yes, because if orc
you're
peen
used to
is huge and human female is not, one would postulate that orc female is bigger and human male is not. So yeah, I really
maybe
don't
he's just
know.
really good with other things.
Oh no, I didn't realize it was released, or I would have read it and mentioned it in this one. Because I will mention the others. I won't go full detail like the other series. Because these books are kind of it's kind of a la... Yeah, they could be standalones, but it's kind of a little bit like the Ruby Dixon series with the Ice Planet Barbarians, where each book is a different couple, but they're all part of the same tribe. You just get their little bits and pieces, their stories, but in general, the main themes are still kind of the same. They're just short little happily ever afters. Like this book, I think, is only 200-something pages.
Oh, okay.
But you get quite a bit of spice for the pages, and it is not a slow burn. So
the bane of your existence.
I know, Zoe Ashwood. Thank you for not doing that to me. I hate it. I still read them, but I hate it. So, our main character is Dawn, who is a young lady. She escaped from a souled marriage when she was 13. Her parents...
I have to interrupt you real quick. I have never known a good Dawn. Have you?
I think I've only ever met one Dawn. Dawn's not really a...
I've met a couple of them.
I don't know. I don't have any issues with Dawns.
Maybe it's just me. I've never met a good one.
Maybe that's a you thing.
Maybe. Sorry. Continue.
So, Lordy. So Dawn, her parents didn't have a ton of money, but as soon as she got her period at 13, they sold her to be the bride of the older man next door because it was worth some money, and she was very upset about it because it was like a some silver, something else, and like and a bag of turnips, and she was
A bag
very
of turnips.
Yes, it was like some
She
money.
didn't even get a cow.
No, it was like a little bit of money, and then I think like some fancy cloth or something, and a freaking bag of turnips. And she was highly offended by the bag of turnips.
So the turnips are the cents of the money.
Yeah, I guess it was like she's like really upset because of the bag of turnips, which understandable.
I would be too.
So she lived on the run.
At least give rutabagas. It's like a up class turnip at least.
She lived on the run. The night before the marriage, she took off on her father's horse, which was he lost both his prized possessions in one night because those were both how he made money, using his horse to get places, and then her, of course.
Yeah, because...
So she sells the horse at an inn, gets to an all-girls school, works as a scullery maid, and then just keeps working at different places off and on as a maid. Some are good, some are bad. Her most recent place, she was working at an inn. She got really desperate and poor one night, so she sold her virginity to a traveling merchant's son. And she got like a new cloak and some boots out of it, and she was pretty happy about that. So you can tell she doesn't really think of herself as like worth a whole lot in a way.
Well, if your parents sell you for turnips, I feel
I know. So that's definitely like a trauma trigger that she's living with. So anywho, while she's working at the inn, she is picked up by slavers and taken to an auction house to be sold as a slave. Because in this land of Styria, they have slavery. Okay. And so she stays in the auction house for a while. Then she finds out she's sold, and when she gets loaded into the wagon of where she's been sold, she has been purchased by orcs. And all she knows of orcs is, of course, human crap. Orcs are terrible, grind your bones for your bread, Shrek, all of that good stuff, Like, not Shrek, but, like, you get the vibe.
No, but it's
torches and pitchforks.
Yeah.
So, the whole time she's tried to escape, they catch her. They've dropped there was 4 other people with her, and they've been all dropped off at different villages. And she's like, what's happening? Where's this? Where's that? What happened to the boy? Because there was a young boy who got dropped off, and they were like, he was sent home. And she's like, wait, what? We'll keep continuing. So anywho, they tried to give her a chance to bathe, but she couldn't do it without them watching because they were guards. Mm-hmm. And so she barely cleaned, so she's filthy. In a filthy dress, kind of stinky, and the guards are kind of who brought her are kind of listen, you're coming to the Orc Kingdom, and it's if you're mated with one of the orcs, if not, you'll go, if you're not mated, we'll let you go to one of the villages, kind of explaining, basically, she's kind of getting the idea, but she doesn't fully understand it, but essentially what you realize is the orcs are buying people and rescuing them by letting them return to their lives. Okay. They're doing a good deed.
Yeah.
But they also do it because any of the women with no family and they make sure, which you'll get to that in a second. So when she gets there to the orc place, it's a kingdom built into the ground. It looks really crazy to her at first, but it's kind of nice. And then the Orc King comes out, and you see him. He's a huge guy. What do you
mean by kingdom built into the ground? Like hobbit houses where they're there's a door and then everything else is kind of
there's doors, and it's all an interior cavern kingdom. Okay, it's really freaking cool.
Caverny.
And there's a thermal spring that heat and stuff.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. So see, that was my question though, because it's it could be cavern, it could be hillside, and
it's more cavernous with ground. Hillside door openings, and then you go into cool. They call it the hill. Okay. So anywho, they get there, the king comes out, let's sell, what a day. All the single orc men and a couple women line up, and she has to walk through the line of orcs to figure out if any of them are her mate.
Mm-hmm.
So, because the guards have already been like, one of them is like a jokester, and he's like, it'd be great if you were mine, but you're not. Here, and so she gets to walk through. So she's thinking, if I can just get to the Orc King, I can escape, because none of these orcs will be my mate. So then they say they'll let me go live in the village. However, as fate would have it, she makes it through the entire line with none of the orcs being her mate, because she is the mate of the king, Gorvor, who is the biggest orc of all. He has his tusks. He has long, luxurious black hair that's kept nicely braided.
Viking style. Nice.
Just a ripped, and she talks about how broad and huge he is. And she's like immediately drawn to him, because like the closer she got to him, she was like, okay. But then she's like, no, gotta get out of here. And then she's like, oh crap. So the Orcs King, he sniffs, is like, tonight we celebrate. We have found my queen. And she's like, queen?
She's
what
like,
the
what
heck? Yeah, she's over her head. So he grabs her, and they go into the hill cavern thing, and down like a very long corridor. It's very dark. Gets to his room, and she's like, oh god, he's going to force me. Well, obviously he's not. He's a gentleman. And so he's like, I will not do that to you. And she doesn't really believe him, but he's like, and then they kind of banter back and forth, and he talks about her needing to clean up, like, you chose to be filthy, and she's like, I wasn't allowed to bathe. And she's like, did they not stop at the river? But I couldn't bathe with them there. And he's like, I forgot humans are so prudish.
So he don't care if somebody else sees her.
Well, not so much like that. It's just it's just like, nudity is nudity. We gotta take a bath. The orcs are very clean people. Yeah. And so she like freshens up, and he tells her, look, just come out here with me, treat my people nicely, and sit on my lap. So she's kind of like wigging out, but she's also like intrigued. So she like cleans up, puts on this dress that his cousin brings to her, and then they go out to the feast, and everyone's making toast, and everyone's excited, and he's like got her a plate, gave her lots of food. She complimented a plate from the cook's kitchen, and now the cook's like sending out sweets for her, like, oh, you like my cooking? Here you go. And he's like, you've done great, you've won over the cook. And then everyone's very excited, and she's kind of like just taking it all in. Like in her mind, she's kind of like, what the heck? But then she's also like, this is so normal. Like, it's a great hall. There's orc families. There's little orc babies. Everybody's just hanging out, and it's like a bunch of orcs. And she's like, okay. And she's just chilling on the throne. And at first she's sitting there, and she was like thinking about his muscles. And then she realized she wasn't sitting on a muscle per se. And he's like, took you long enough.
It's a type of muscle.
So he's like very flirty with her, even though she's like, no, don't touch me. And he's like, oh, I won't until you beg me. And it's like,
that is such like a line too in a lot of those, like, I've been kidnapped. And it's such a like a keep your feet kind of line, because it's like, consent.
Yes. Beautiful. So, during the toast, they have mead, and he's like, tells her, take small sips, there'll be a lot of toast. Well, towards the end of the toast, girl is a drunky pants, like, whoosh. And she's
she didn't take small sips, did she?
She did take small sips, but it still was too much. And
she's a lightweight. Yeah,
she's a lightweight. So one of the guards said something, and then she like rubs the king's arm and is like, he's so strong. And she thought she said it in her head, but then the guard laughs, and she's like, did I say that out loud? And the king sighs and is like, I should have watered down your mead.
Okay, so here's the thing though. Mead is a lot stronger than wine most of the times, even though it's called honey wine. I mean, it's strong. That is home brewed most of the time, and the
But she
more
had a
sugar that they
goblet.
had, it doesn't matter. You also gotta
Anyway,
remember, it's an orc goblet. It's not a human goblet.
either way, Girly Pop is a drunk. So, the king takes her, which there was, so there is instance, there's 4 orcs that have a different emblem.
Okay.
Gorvor is the king of the bear clan, and then there's 4 boar clan members there. And
Okay.
you can tell it's very tense that they're there, but you don't know why yet. So they return to the chamber, and she's like, oh God, now is where he attacks me. And he's like, I will never do that to you. Please do not think such a thing of me. But the cool part of the thermal spring in their room is that they have, it connects into some of the rooms individually. So like the king and the upper people have them in their rooms, and then there's like a common area one because the Naki don't bother the orcs.
Yeah. It's literally like a hot spring.
Yes. So
An
he has
onsen,
one
I
in his
think,
room,
is what they're
and
called.
he's like, go ahead and bathe, but like first he has to help her out of her laces. So he helps her out of her laces, which he already broke one trying to tie her into them earlier. So now he's being extra careful, and she thought he was just going to help with the laces, but then she felt him. He starts taking out her hairpins and undoing her hair and like kind of scratching her scalp, and she's like overcome because she's like, the last person to like brush my hair was my mother, and that was a very long time ago, and it wasn't like she loved me anyway. And it was like, oh,
My heart. Oh my
poor,
god.
you poor baby bird. So he
Poor
tells
baby.
her to get in the water, and she makes him turn around. So he like rolls his eyes and closes them, and she gets in the water, and she's like, all right, duck down in the water, everything's covered. And then he starts stripping, and she's like, what are you doing? And he's like, bathing. She's like, together? And he's like, so he makes her turn around, which is hilarious. So she can't see him either. And then he gets in the water, and then he hands her soap and like soaps it up and stuff. And then that's what it is too. He's like, I would like to wash your hair. And she lets him, and that's, she's all like, nobody's ever washed my hair, nobody da da da. And which of course, having your hair washed
Oh,
is
it's
peak,
just so
like,
nice.
Yes.
When it's done properly. Honestly though, even when it's not, it's still like the thought of somebody trying to wash your hair for you is like, this is nice.
It's the scritchies.
It's the scratchies.
It's
It's the best part of getting your hair done.
It's the scritchies. So he's giving her all the scritchies with his orc claws. And then he's sitting, there's like a little ledge built in, and they're both kind of sitting on the ledge, and he on the opposite each other, and she sees his arm move and realizes that he's cleaning his. No, it is his arm, but he's using it to grab and clean, and he's like, go ahead, clean yourself, and she went to clean, like took a swipe, and he starts like jerking. And she's like, you can't do that. And he's like, why not? He's like, you're beautiful. And she's like, you can see me? Orcs have very good eyesight. So she's assuming that he couldn't see her in the dimly lit room in the water, but he totally could.
He didn't
So
tell
she's
her. He
like-
was like, you know what? This is going to be a surprise.
Yeah. It's really funny because his attitude is like, so he's like, I can totally see you. But here's the thing. He's like, you're beautiful. And she's like, but she's kind of like curious because he's obviously playing with himself, and she wishes she could see, but she can't see. And then he's like, what does it feel like when you tease yourself? And she's like, tease myself? And she's never touched herself before, and he's like, are you a virgin? And she says no, and she tells him how she like whatever. And
it's
he's like,
nothing but a money grab for her. She doesn't understand
yeah.
that it's pleasurable.
And he's like, well, what happened? What did he do? And she's like, he just kind of climbed on top, and then it was done, and I got my stuff. And he's like, oh my God. They say orcs are barbaric. And he talks about how he basically teaches her how to masturbate.
Honestly, those scenes in books are always like, yeah, they're one of those scenes. Because it's straight up like full trust mode too, where like you have to trust somebody when you're doing that in front of them.
He walks her through. He tells her, take your finger, do this, touch, and he does call it a pearl, like a little bead of flesh, and they call it a pearl, and I'm just like, oh, not pearl. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't like that.
I know.
I also hate honey pot, like with a burning passion, though.
Thankfully, no honey pot. He does tell her she tastes like honey, but we do not call it a honey pot.
That's different.
Because part of her scent to him.
Two aside.
Yeah, part of her scent to him is she smells like the sweetest honey he could imagine, and to her, she realizes he smells like home, even though she's never really known what home is. Your heart, my heart, everyone's heart.
She's like, something smells really comforting and like cozy, and I like this, and I don't know what it is, but like it's home,
and it's him. So, anywho, he teaches her what to do in the bathtub, and she has her first O and is like, oh, a whole new world. Very excited about that experience. Also very curious about what he experiences. And they go and have their fun together there. And then, he wraps her up.
She then help him out? Or is it kind of like
yet.
They both do their own thing?
It was mutual togetherness first. And then they get up. They get out of the bed. And then, he dries her off and bundles her up. And it's so sweet. And he's like, that's when he's like, I'm not going to do that. Not until you beg me. And she's like,
I might do that.
So then they go to sleep, and then she wakes up and realizes, holy crap, all of this happened. I'm in an orc kingdom. Because obviously she was a bit tipsy, which he told her, take a bath. He gave her a cup of water before they got in the bath. Drink this to sober her up. So we're talking, he's taking care of her. He wasn't trying to take advantage of drunky pants.
No, and he didn't touch her. I mean, it's not.
And he told her, get in the sulfur water, take a bath, sober up. And then, it does mention how she starts to kind of clear up because it's been a long night. So, in the morning, she wakes up and she's like, oh my God, I'm with an orc. And then she realizes she's cuddled up on the orc, like all cuddled and cozy. She's worried about him taking advantage of her. Meanwhile, she's cuddled up to him like best sleep of her life. Yeah. Well, and then she sees the bedsheet kind of move, and she's like, curiosity gets the better of her, so she goes to take a peek because she really wants to know what an orc peen looks like and how it would even remotely fit inside her, because just, basic anatomy.
Yeah.
So he wakes up and is like, do you like it? And she's like, I wasn't doing anything. It's like, girly, you were clearly
girly pop.
You were clearly busted, caught in the act.
Oh
So
my God.
She's like, I wasn't doing anything.
Beet red, like, oh my
God.
God.
It says her face was like, her cheeks were warmed, and I'm like, yeah, I bet they were. So anywho, he's like, it's okay to look, it's all yours. And just, sir, these are all the right answers. Thank you. But naturally, it is huge, and it does have, in fact, a knot. Knotting.
Of course it does.
Of course it does. Anywho, so she's like, there's no way, and he's like, it will fit. And he tells her, I would prepare you. I would never hurt you, Dawn. And she's like, tender heart is breaking because this orc is just treating her so nicely. And she's like, these orcs are treating me better than the humans I have known have ever done. So sad.
That's sad.
So then they have playtime right there because he tells
okay.
her, he's like, I
Trauma
can,
at playtime.
he's like, I can show you. And he's like, first I would make love to your mouth. And he like starts worshiping her body and playing with her. And then he like eats her out crazy. And then she wants to touch him. So she shows him how to jack him off. And that's all they have time for that morning. But it definitely got a little frisky from, oh no, an orc, to, I want to try that. Which, this is like a shorter story, so naturally things have got to progress a little quicker. So they go off about their day. He has to go on a hunt, and she's like, am I going with you? And he's just like, can you hunt? And she's like, no. And he's like, then no. It was very simple. Like, can you hunt? Then no.
Then
you can
no,
stay here.
I'm not going to be worried about you while I'm trying to also feed my people.
Exactly. So he's like, you can go, you can chill here, you can hang out, you know, whatever. So she kind of lays there and cries with like overwhelmedness of it all, because, you know, females, we'd be crazy. Yeah. We'd be emotional. Because she's not, she's like,
to go take care of his people.
Yeah, obviously. And so she's just like, having a meltdown moment. And so his cousin Mara comes by, which is the female orc, which she is actually the one who has the human mate later. So I will be reading that because I like her. So she kind of functioned as like his steward, which is like technically the job of the queen. But she's like, you know, Dawn's like, I wouldn't want to take your job because she really enjoys it. She's like, you know, I could, but she helps her with it. She's like, I could help you with it. And she's already making plans. Like, first she was all escape, and now she's, like, figuring out what her life would look like.
And stay. And...
So she goes with the guards and Mara, and they go exploring, and she shows her around the Great Hall, the communal baths. And she's like, I saw more naked orc than I ever need to see in my life. And,
you know what? It happens. I mean...
It happens. It's you know, it's the bathhouse. So, they've had a full day of meeting people. She met one of the humans who lives there. He's like a healer. He was a doctor. And he asked her if she was squeamish about blood. And she said no. And he said, expect me to call on you, because he gets frustrated because the orcs don't wear armor if they go into battle. And he's like, just because you can't get hurt doesn't mean you shouldn't. So he gets very frustrated sewing up the orcs. And they're like, it's pride. We are orcs. We are strong. We are mighty. Rawr.
He said, it is carpal tunnel for me.
Infection is a thing.
It's like, have you ever heard of staff? That's a thing. And not just a weapon.
So yeah, that's the healer. She's like, don't mind the healer. He gets cranky. But she sees, like, you know, and then she, like, they have lunch, and there's an orc family sitting at the table with her. And she, like, gets to play with their little pudgy green baby. And she's like, this is so different. This is nothing like what I expected. She realizes the orcs, you know, are just living their lives. They're not a bunch of wild, crazy beasts just running around pillaging like she's always been told. And she realized there's a lot of prejudice. And, so anyway, they come back from the hunt, and he's carrying a huge boar, like the size of a human, and he's just tossing it around. But she kind of picks up on the tension between the 4 boar clan, right? And he's got a boar. So she's like, this is a message. So she's very curious, but no one will talk about what it is. And there's also a hallway they wouldn't talk about. And she's like, something's going on. But
I feel like it's something for her, but she's not really sure. Either that, or it's like an ancient, like, ritual thing. Maybe both? Is it both? Anywho, is it an ancient ritual for her?
Gorvor puts down the meat, the kill. They all put down their kills and come over and da-da-da. And then he, like, walks up to her, and she's just like, dang, what a male. And, like, he grabs her and kisses her, and she, like, wraps her legs around him, and she's kind of like, this is a very public display, but all the orcs are like, whatever. And then his cousin's like, well, I guess we'll see you two tomorrow. and she's embarrassed, and Gorvor is, like, looking at her, but she realizes, you know, that's his cousin. He's okay with her messing with him. So he's like, yes, you will see us tomorrow. And he takes her, and then, like, he throws her down on the bed, and he's like, I really want to you tonight. And she's like, I want that too, But he's like, first I must bathe, and gets in the hot spring. And then she's like, and then he comes back, and then they have their first time, and they have to work. Obviously, he has to prep her, so he like preps her with like several of his orc fingers before he finally gets to his monster peen. And then still, it takes a minute getting it on out down there, and she has to like relax, and it's very intimate, and they like talk, and it's like very sweet, but it's also very yas. And then finally she gets that knot in there, and then they're stuck for a bit, and she's kind of like, she's crying, and he's like, no, no. His whole thing is like, no crying. And she realizes it's not that she's forbidden to cry, it's just he doesn't know what to do when she cries. So he's like, no, none of that. But she's like, just the intimacy that's been created.
It's overwhelming for her.
And the talking with them, you know, she's a human female. We got emotions. She's all over the place. So she's just like, with the intimacy. So they, you know, start living their little life and goes along, and they're constantly boning and hanging out. And he even went the next morning, he was gone, and she thought he was going to be gone for the day, and she had gotten dressed, and he came back, he's like, where are you going? And she's like, I thought you were gone. And he's like, I went to get you something. And he brought her a salve because she was a little sore. And then the herbalist gave him a tea to increase her fertility because she had already told her about it, and she's like, I don't need that. But then he also gave her a tea that they have to prevent pregnancy in case she wasn't ready for that. So he gave her choice, and no one ever gives her a choice.
Please tell me she started crying again.
Oh yeah, all the feels. He's like, no.
He's like, I don't know what to do. Stop doing this. He's like, you're leaking fluid.
So anyway, they continue to have their fun, and they go about their day, and she's helping Mara by day, and he meets with his warriors, scouts, and different things. She can tell something's going on because things are getting tense. And she's like, what's with the 4 Borg clansmen? Why are they here? What's going on? And no one will tell her. And then as she's been helping with different, it's wild. So she's very confused. And so then she gets her period, and she learns that with the orcs, when you're on your period, you are treated like a queen. You stay in bed, you rest.
I mean, she is a queen, so technically,
well, yeah.
I don't know if
but
I would go.
But all the females, they stay in bed, they rest, their food is brought to them, and they don't have to work.
Damn.
I know, the orcs got it right.
They do.
So Mara comes and hangs out with her and does work with her while she's in the room to keep her company. And this is when she's reminded of when her courses started at 13, and that's when she finally opens up to Gorvor about it there. Because I told y'all about it at the beginning, but she doesn't tell him until then. Because the first day too, when she was walking around with Mara and the other orcs, she said something about, where are the other, like, buying all the people, and Mara's like, we do that to rescue you. Where do you think you would have ended up if we had not purchased you? And she's like, probably some brothel somewhere.
Yeah.
And she realizes what the orcs are doing, and that Gorvor has created a relationship with the Lord of Ultrop, which is the town that has the auction houses, because he's trying to end slavery. Because he sees how awful it is. So like the orcs are trying to end slavery, and she's like, wow, I really misjudged these orcs. So anywho, she has her courses. Well, then Mara has hers, and she's been helping Mara, and she's trying to create the food list. And so she's like, you know what, I'll just look at the ledger and get the numbers for all the food from before. Then she realizes where they paid like gold marks, like big money for the slaves, and she realizes it, and she like has a whole meltdown about realizing that she's, you know, about 150 gold marks is how much she cost. And Mara's like, oh, you shouldn't be looking at that. And she's like, that's
just
not
some turnips.
Yeah, she's like, that's not, but she's still upset because it's like, you know, imagine putting a number on the value of your life. You're invaluable as a person. And anyone out there who thinks that they're not valuable, you know, you are very valuable. Your life is valuable just because you are here on this planet. Um, so she gets upset, and but she's also like, hold the phone. She's looking at the income versus the expense, and the income they make from the stuff that they sell in the human towns or trade ain't matching up to what they're paying for the slaves. So she's like, where is this coming from? So then and Mara's like, I can't tell you. And so she gets upset, and then she gets into it with the king, and then they're fighting for days and like avoiding each other. And because she has a big knockdown drag out with him, and is even like, do you resell some of them or something for the money? And he's like devastated, like, how could you think this of me?
Yeah.
And because she's like, well, they say the other humans are in the outer orc villages, but are they really? And so like, but he won't tell her. He just tells her, just follow the order of your king. And he's like, okay, my lord. And then, you know, it's a Cold War. Silence, avoiding each other, all that good stuff. And eventually the entire kingdom can tell, because she's like working double shifts in the kitchen, all this other stuff. Then she tells Mara, she asks her how much a kitchen maid person makes. And she tells her, and she's like, okay, if I work double shifts for a couple years, I can pay back what was paid for me. And Mara is in like tears and is like, that's not how it works. But she's like, no, you know, it's really tough for her. She's really struggling, and Gorvor won't talk to her about it. Like, as Justin always says, this could be solved with a little bit of communication. When the man is right, the man is right. So, finally, after several days, Gorvor shows up, and she's like, he's waiting in the room for her. So he like has a talk with her, and he gives her a chest, and he's like, consider this your dowry. And she's like, doesn't the bride usually give the dowry? He's like, then consider it a wedding gift or whatever. I would have got you something anyway. I just hadn't had time. Well, in his eyes, they are.
Oh, okay.
They're mated. They're married.
Yeah.
So, he gives her a chest of 150 gold marks, and he's like, now give me the chest. And she's like, your debt is paid. You don't, like, he tries to, like, explain to her. He's like, but Dawn, I would have paid thousands more gold marks for you. This is not what you're worth. You're worth more than that. So he tries to reassure her, and they reconnect. And then he's like, I don't want to leave the bed, but like, I do want to show you something else. So he's finally opening up to her. So he takes her through a hall where people aren't supposed to be, and he goes up there, and it's a room that has a window that opens out of the hill into the sunlight. Because she had told him, you know, I'm a human. Why can't I leave? Because, sorry, I forgot a part. So when she was on her period with the orcs, they provided her with like period underwear, like pads. And the humans, they didn't have that. They just kind of willy-nilly whatever. She's like, these are genius. We could sell these to the human women. So she like creates a business plan and all that. And she's like, I could go to town and da-da-da. And he's like, no, you can't go. It's dangerous. But he won't tell her why she can't leave, that it's dangerous. And she knows it's something up with the Boar clan, but he won't tell her. So she was pissy about that too. But he did tell her, she did tell him, I need sunlight. And so he took her like on a little picnic. But there were so many guards, and she was just like, he's not telling me something. So anywho, now that he's finally communicating, he takes her to this room that has a window that opens out into the sunshine. And it's beautiful, it's well lit up, and he's like, this was my mother's room. And he begins to finally explain the story. And the Boar clan, his father is actually the king of the Boar clan. And the 4 warriors that are there, 3 of them are warriors, and 1 of them is his brother.
Okay.
And his brother is there because his father is dying, and his brother wants to make sure that Gorvor's not going to try to take over the Boar clan, which Gorvor wants nothing to do with them because Gorvor's mother was a human. She's like, but you're such an orc. And he's like, that's what happens with orcs and humans, is they take our DNA and they're orcs. So, which lets her know she'll have orc babies, which she's totally fine with. Well, It's gonna suck birthing them, but she's totally
Yeah.
fine with it because she plays with the babies in the kingdom and she wants one of the squishy little green babies for herself.
I'm
That,
just thinking of the triplets from Shrek.
yes, that's exactly how I think of it, and she wants one for herself. So anyway, he tells her about his mother, and he said they were mates because obviously he and his brother wouldn't be here if they weren't mates because non-mates can't produce children. Um, However, his father is a horrible, horrible person and treated his mother like a slave, like actual garbage. And when he was 12 years old, his mother no longer wanted to see him, probably because he looked too much like his father. So poor Gorvor's got some trauma too. And then he got tired of it and how horrible his father was, so he challenged him. And it was supposed to be a fight to the death, but his mother asked him to spare him because even though he was a douche rocket, he was still her mate.
Yeah, she still felt
However,
connected to him.
yeah. However, she didn't stay with him. She came and moved to the clan with Gorvor, but she lived up in the sunroom until she died. So she's like understanding now more and more what's going on and that his father was like into keeping the slaves and different things and he's totally opposed to that. But then there's more. So he takes her. He said, I have more to show you. Of course, naturally,
there's more.
they have to get all frisky in the sunroom because, you can't just not get
Let's
intimate.
get frisky in my dead mother's room. That's really a
Well, it's
turn on
her.
there.
He gives it to her as her room now where she can go when she needs to sit in the sunlight and all that other stuff.
Okay.
Precious. So then, which she always has to go around in the hill with guards. That was the other reason why she thought this was weird. Because it's like, if we're in the hill and these are our people and we're safe, why do I need guards? And it's because of the Four Boar clan. Yeah. So finally, he takes her to another secret room and there's like an iron gate and there's guards and Gorvor, it has a key and it takes 5 orcs to open it, including Gorvor. So it can't be opened unless Gorvor's there with the key, blah, blah, blah. So in that hill is a huge thing of gold. Or that's where the money comes from. They have miners, they can mine the gold. Okay. But they don't overdo it because what they've been doing got them noticed by the Boar clan and he's worried about them finding out about the gold and trying to come and kill them all for it.
Yeah.
Because they wouldn't do anything good with it. They would be terrible. So everybody knows about it, and everybody agreed to keep it a secret, and everybody agreed. He put it to a vote for everyone to live modestly, to not draw attention. And everyone's supposed to be cool with it. You'll note that I said supposed to be.
Yeah, so, I heard that. Is it the cousin? I feel like it might be the cousin, and that's going to break my heart if it's the cousin.
No, it is not the cousin. She's precious, precious bean. So she finally knows all the secrets and, they reconnect. She's better. He's better. And her and Mara's like, I'm so sorry I couldn't tell you. And she's like, no, it wasn't your fault. He told you not to. And I'm sorry that, I doubted you and was rude and, and all those prejudices I had before and all the different things. So everything's good. Well, and then, one day a scout Borger comes and tells them that there's a big herd of sheep and Gorvor goes to see if they want to go out and hunt and they're like, yes, let's go, because if they get this sheep it'll feed them forever, plus it has like pure white wool that's valuable to use for all kinds of stuff. Well, she tells him, why don't you invite your brother, because she feels like they need to talk. Because he's like, I don't want that kingdom, so I don't know why he's here. So she's like, why don't you invite your brother on a day you're not hunting boar, you're hunting sheep, and have that talk. And he's like, I see what you're doing here, little mate, very well. And so he invites his brother. His brother goes, but the guards refuse. And they're very like, ah. And so he's like, whatever. So they go on the hunt. Well, obviously, we talked about her poor human eyesight, and they live in, like, a cavernous underground kingdom. She has a lantern for her, because the rest of the orcs can see. They don't need it. But she has a lantern. Well, they go up to her sunroom, and her lantern cut out. So they, like, are trying to guide her and stuff. One of the guards is like, I'll go back down and get more oil for the lamp. And the one guard stays with her in the sunroom, and, like, the window had been open, so, like, rain had got in and messed it up, so she had to do some cleaning. All of a sudden, while they're cleaning, which I am talking about this more, I should probably put that here, if you do not want the spoilers, stop listening here. If you don't mind the spoilers, we shall continue, because I liked what we did with the book that was older. Like, go ahead and tell you what happened. Because this is an older book. So.
You mean last episode?
Yeah, whatever. Whenever it was. So, yes. If you don't want to know, bye. Love you.
Read it. Enjoy it. Love it.
Enjoy it. It's great. Whole series.
Have you read it, guys?
Now. So. He goes down to get more oil, and they're cleaning, and all of a sudden, he's the guard. It's Vark and Steger are the guards, which they have their own stories, too, when they get their mates. So Vark is like, shh, be very quiet. You could hear orcs coming, and you could tell that there's, like, multiple, and he's like, it's gotta be those warriors, because all of our clan leaves you alone up here, and it's not Stigor. They were coming to launch an attack to try to kidnap her. So he fights them off, but he gets injured. So she, like, is trying to figure out what to do. And she's like, I could surprise attack him. And she's like, psh, by the time I open the door, that's not a surprise. So then he, like, is telling her, I'll kill him if you don't come out, and starts a countdown. So she has, like, a little blade from sewing. And she comes out, but she doesn't come out. She unlocks the door, and he comes in. She's holding it to her throat because she figures she's more valuable alive. And she's like, I will go with you, but you have to let me wrap his wounds. So he finally agrees, and he lets her, because 2 of the guards are dead. Only one of their Boar Clan guards survived, and he's the one there dealing with her. And so she wraps up his wounds, and he's like, come on, hurry up, we don't have time for this. And he takes off with her. But she threw up because of all the blood, because she's probably pregnant. But she threw up.
So she took the fertility tea, not the...
No, she didn't take any of the teas.
Well,
but
okay.
I mean, I don't even know if she suspects it at this point, but I know she, like, starts throwing up, and you're kind of like, so he's like, ugh, disgusting human, and he, like, goes kidnap her, and they take off, and they manage to get out of the hill because they go through the sewers. Ugh. Which then he makes her get in the water to rinse off, and he's washing himself off, like, bathe. This is disgusting. So they're out, and... At least
he lets her bathe.
Yeah. But then, you know, he's trying to get away with her, and then who should show up but Gorvor's brother and Borger, the scout who told them about the sheep. And his brother is like, what are you doing? Why do you have the queen? Gorvor's gonna lose his mind. And the warrior's
so the
like,
brother's
I don't care.
like, this was not the plan.
This was not, no. This is a no. And then,
this is a big old, he's gonna kill us now.
Yeah. And the other orc is like, I have my orders, blah, blah, blah. And Borger's like, there. But then next thing you know, arrows fly, and the warrior orc is dead. Kaput. The brother is shot to detain him. And then a bunch of the orcs show up, and the king is there holding he's the one who shot. And she, like, kind of is, like, running to him, but doesn't know what to do. So he lowers an arm and, like, has her come to him. And he's like, I'm so sorry, I failed you, da da da. And she's like, don't say that. Don't say that about your warriors. And all this other stuff. So, anywho, the guy did slap her. So he, like, sees the bruise. And he's like, I wish I could kill him again. Yeah.
She's like, I would have made it more painful.
Painful, yes. So what they do is they take Borger, who is the part of their clan. They put cotton in his ears and put a bag over his head because, orc hearing. Mm-hmm. So then he questions his brother, and his brother's like, I swear, I had no idea. He's like, did you mean what we talked about? And he's like, yes, I want to make changes in our clan. I don't this is not what I want to do. This is not my plan. This is not my idea. Borger approached me on the hunt about getting you away from the castle, and that because those two had wandered off, and that's how Gorvor found them so fast. Because he's like, wait a minute. The warriors, though, he's like, those are father's warriors, and obviously they had orders different than mine. Because the brother came here to make sure that Gorvor wasn't going to take the throne, and obviously the warriors came here to hurt Gorvor. So then they put Cotton.
The dad's probably like, yeah, you took my mate, and the thing that I enslaved, I'm gonna mess with yours.
Yeah. So then they put cotton in his ears and a bag over his head and talks to Borger, and you find out that Borger is bitter that they live poorly, and, you know, he's like, dude, you voted for this. But now he's unhappy and wants to be rich, and he's like, I don't care, bow to some human queen and all this other garbage. And it's like, wow. So he gets swift action. Because before that, she told him how they escaped out the sewer, and so he sent men to button that down. Like, that won't be a problem no more. And he told him to take her, and she's like, no, I'll stay with you. And he was, like, proud of her for staying, because she knew justice had to be served.
Yeah.
So he rescues her, and it's a whole thing. And then they go back, and the brother is now stuck there kind of as a prisoner because Borger told the brother about the gold. Mm. So he's like, now I don't know what I can do here. If I let him go, if he'll keep it a secret, what will happen? So for now, he's like a prisoner. A well taken care of prisoner, but like a prisoner. And then, so they get back, and of course, gotta have sexy time. You know, she was just kidnapped. But so then there's an epilogue. And in the epilogue, it's 2 months later, which is their harvest celebration. And he says that's when they plant their seed for a plentiful new year. So she's trying to put on a dress, and it talks about her boobs, like, being hugongus. And she's like, I'm pretty certain I'm pregnant. Because she missed her period. And so she's like, I'm going to have to go see, you know, the herbalist chick. Because there's an orc who's a herbalist. And, so she gets dressed, and he's made her a little circlet crown to match his stainless steel crown, so they're adorable. That's and they're just cute. So happy and in love, and everything's great and roses. So they go to the harvest celebration, and, you know, it's a huge feast, and it's decorated, and orcs from the villages are there, and there's, like, a band playing. It's very cool. Well, she notices, like, after the dinner goes down and stuff, and they start to pull out the music, and they dim the lighting, and, like, she's like, it takes on a very sultry atmosphere. The Harvest Festival is a fertility festival. Plant their seed, ain't seeds in the ground.
I was thinking that's what it was, and I was like...
So she's kind of, like, scandalous. But, like, she kind of, like, because Gorvers, like, reaches around and, like, starts touching her in his lap, because she don't ever sit in her seat. She always in that man's lap.
That's because that is her seat. How dare you?
Yes, that is her seat. I'm so sorry. So he's like reaching around playing with her, and she's like, "Wait, what is happening?" But she's kind of like turned on, so he ends up like lifting her skirts, and she like agrees to it, and like, she's like, you can hear other orcs, and like, she's like, there's a throuple over there, like kissing and going to town, and then there's like one orc threw his mate on the table, and everyone's there, and she like starts to wonder if she would ever like that, but meanwhile she starts riding him in the throne, and she's like, everyone knows what we're doing, but she doesn't care anymore because it feels too good. And then she tells him that she's pregnant. She's like, that's not really when she meant to, but she's like the intimacy and closeness of it all. And he's like, what? Yes. And then, of course, it's Pound Town time, and she, like, comes really loud, and he's like, let them hear you, let them hear how good I fuck you. And it's just like, sir.
It's like, sir, they can see it. I think we're good.
I mean, if they look hard enough, they can see it, but everybody, it's just like a little orc orgy going on.
Yep.
And that's the end of the book.
We end with an orc orgy.
What more do you want out of life? I don't know. Questions?
I don't even know what It's the fact that it ends with an orc orgy.
I mean, it's the epilogue, but you gotta read that epilogue. There's also an epilogue from Gorvor's point of view.
There are people who don't read the epilogues.
What kind of masochist does that?
There are people who don't read epilogues or prologues.
You gotta know all the stuff.
Yeah.
Bro, what?
I got to know.
Yeah, I got to know. What a sad existence.
Right?
The epilogue, one of the best parts. So
It is. It really is.
a lot of these books add like a spicy scene in the epilogue. Which, I mean, sometimes I'm like, you could have put that in the book, but... So, I would say, overall...
I account an epilogue as, like, the final, like, closing chapter of a book. Like, I would say that is the end for me.
It is for me, but I guess apparently not for some people. What?
That's just weird.
So, overall, I do love the series. Like I said, the other warriors, they get their stories. You get the different stories, and everyone's getting their little mate. And then, like I said, there's the most recent one where she gets her human mate, and I gotta go learn about that one. And then it's just, it's written really well. They're short reads, but they are spicy. So it's like, even though it's a short book, it's like, ooh, yes, here's all the spice I need. It's like a microdose.
You get a spice, and you get a spice, and you get a spice.
I was like, you know what? When you don't have time to have a whole trip, it's a microdose. It's a microdose. A microdose of smut, if you will.
No, those are novellas. I told you about one of them that I read. We tried to make an episode of it, and we were like, oh, this is too weird.
But, like, novellas, aren't those, like, less than... I don't know. This was, like, 200 pages. So
they're,
I feel
like,
120
they're 100 to 120, I think, usually. Novellas
this
are.
Was... 210... Well, if you take out the extra... 203 pages.
Okay, that's not bad at all.
So, I don't know. I guess it's a short story? I don't know. What's the technical
I would
split?
still call it a novel. I mean, it's just a shorter novel.
Yeah, so, I don't know. I'm just saying, it wasn't that long. You still got lots of spice. Because you get plenty of them, going to town with orc knot.
That's what it sounds like.
And, like, when it swells... They can stay together, and then, like, if they move, they keep, like, just over and over again. Infinite pleasure. So, it's a good book.
It would probably definitely help the birth rates.
I mean, I reread it last night, and,
You did text me about that.
It ain't helping no birth rate, though. Even though I did dream I was pregnant with twins. I was like, what? So, no. Don't put that on me, Ricky Bobby.
I'm not putting the juju on you.
Thank you. So.
All right, well. Follow us on Spotify or wherever else you listen and get your podcast. We are on YouTube as well. Go ahead and follow us on Instagram at Sweet and Spicy Pod.
And we're on TikTok.
We are also on TikTok. It's very similar to Instagram, let's be honest here.
Pretty
Maybe
much
we'll
the
do
same.
specialty things.
I mean, I'm getting there, okay?
We're working on it. We're trying to get fun stuff out there for you guys to enjoy, because we know the episodes are long, so we're trying to give you little snippets, get you excited.
But not too excited.
Not too excited. Well, I mean, the type of books that we read, let's be honest here.
Titillating. I love that word.
Titillating. That is a good word. Okay. Bye.
Bye.